Thank you for coming back in.
Thanks for having us.
Yeah, I was talking to John before I interviewed him last time he was here in the Bing Lounge. Didn't really remember that, but but a long time ago, on your first tour, you came through Seattle, and I was working in Seattle at the time, and you came and played the Bumbershoot Festival, and like the first day, I think it was probably one of your first times in Seattle too, and
yeah,
you do remember that?
I do. I remember you and the gig and the whole damn thing.
Love that. Love that.
It's not the last time we met.
Yeah. It's all right. So the new album, Flesh and Blood, I have a copy right here in my hand. It's a great album all the way through. And another show at the Crystal Ballroom and another show in the Bing Lounge. So thank you for taking the time to come in. We appreciate it.
We love making music, so any excuse.
The new album is Flesh and Blood. How do you get into the groove? I mean, you've been doing it for a while now. Is it the same every time? Do you get like a collection of songs and then go in the studio, or do you do it in the studio and try to create there?
Oh, it's a mixture of a lot of different things.
Yeah. How did this one?
Well, I'm always writing. I'm writing for the next album now. The writing never stops.
You're able to write on the road? A lot of people say they can't really do that.
Yeah, I am. I write in all different places. Sometimes I'm right when I'm washing the dishes.
Cool.
It just
get out of that.
Sometimes
kitchen.
when I'm not trying to write, that's when writing really happens.
That's
for me, I think
kind of how life works, isn't it?
Yeah.
When you're not thinking about it, it pops in.
Yeah.
Seems to work for me.
You try less and you get more product. I don't know. Every song's different. Every song is, they're like little creatures, and it's like, in the movie I See Dead People. Well, I hear songs, and in order to get the songs out of my head or out of the ether, wherever they come from, they all want to be brought out in a different way. You kind of have to coax them out, and in recording them, they're really interesting. Some songs that you think are going to be really easy to record don't make it to the album, and then some songs that are really obscure on the back of your iPhone, all of a sudden they come out the easiest. So every song wants the saddle and the reins put on a different way, and you're just trying to get the song out of the wilderness without breaking its spirit and without getting in the way of it too much. Wow. If that makes sense.
Yeah, it does. It makes sense, and it's really interesting. Who gave you your first guitar? Do you remember?
Yeah, I do. Well, I do remember. There's a couple. There's a more well-known version, but the unwell-known version is just that my parents gave me my first nylon guitar, and then once my grandmother saw that I had a relationship with the guitar, she gave me my grandfather's dobro guitar, which is a slide guitar, kind of like. How old were you? You should stand up, dude. Can you stand up for a second and turn around? See the O and the John? It's like a resonator, and that's my grandfather's guitar.
Oh, great!
There you go.
Thanks for.
I owe you one now.
Yeah.
There's a check coming. So yeah, she gave me that guitar when I was about 16.
About 16.
Yeah.
So you'd been playing the other guitar for a little while when you got that one?
Yeah. Well, my grandfather, who owned that guitar and who I'm named after, he died in 1958 in the bushfire in Western Australia, and he left 8 kids behind. And my grandmother said to all those 8 kids, whoever learns how to play the guitar first will get it. And the guitar was kind of stuck in the rock like Excalibur.
Right.
And just like in the movie, some dumbass kid comes, pulls it out. And that was kind of me. It was like, I don't know what to do with this thing. And it was only when I was 21 that slide guitar and all that stuff started making sense. The guitar knew what I wanted to do before I did.
Nice. It found you.
Yeah.
Nice. So you were born here, but then you moved to Australia and you were about 10, is that right?
Yeah, 11.
Yeah. What was that like? Was that like going to the moon, or had you been there before?
Oh, I'd been there before, but
okay.
It is a Western culture in many degrees, but it's still very, very different.
Yeah,
it's very, very different. I moved from LA County to Pinjarra, which is like an hour outside the most isolated capital city in the world. And it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. And at the same time, there was lots of trauma.
I bet.
The town knew I was there before I was there, so I discovered something called xenophobia, which I never even knew what that was.
Right.
And then so it was really interesting. But very character building, and I developed a really deep relationship with the land when living there. I had the river in my backyard, so that river was my escape and playground. And
nice.
I got introduced to indigenous culture through living in that town, through the local indigenous crew there who used to tell me stories about that land and that culture, and I found a great identity of those people because we were both outcasts in a way. So very formative in a lot of ways.
Nice. Thanks again for being here.
Thanks again for having me.
In the Crystal Ballroom tonight, in the Bing Lounge now, John Butler.